"Story," she asked, "is there space left in your bed?" I said, "What if you said you wanted to stay forever?" The night it all began was one of those storm-heavy evenings where the sky felt like it was carrying the weight of everything I had never said out loud. Rain drummed against the windows of my tiny apartment, thunder rolled through the city like a warning, and I sat alone on the edge of my bed wondering how a life could feel both full and empty at the same time. I had been through months of loneliness, the kind that clings to your skin even in daylight, and I thought I had mastered the art of pretending to be okay. Then she knocked, soft, hesitant, like she wasn't sure she deserved a place in anyone's world. When I opened the door and saw her drenched, trembling, eyes full of a fear she tried to hide, I felt something stir in my chest, something I had buried long ago. And when she whispered, "Is there space left in your bed?" something inside me finally cracked open. If you believe in kindness, healing, and second chances, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly supports the channel and helps stories like this reach more hearts. I didn't know her story yet, only fragments she had once shared as jokes, glimpses of a chaotic family, and a loneliness so deep she masked it behind loud laughter. She wasn't a stranger, but she wasn't quite mine either. She had lived 2 floors below me for months, passing me in the corridor with a smile that always came a second too late, as if she constructed it after remembering she was supposed to. That night she didn't try to smile. She just stood there shaking, asking for warmth, asking for space, not just in the bed, but in a life. And something about her vulnerability, her willingness to come to me despite everything she carried, made me realize I had spent too long closing doors that should have stayed open. I stepped aside and let her in. The glow of the small bedside lamp painted her face in soft amber tones, revealing the exhaustion etched into her features. She sat on the edge of my bed like someone afraid the world might collapse if she let her guard down for even a second. She wasn't running from danger, at least not the kind that could be seen. She was running from memories, from voices that told her she wasn't enough, from a home that didn't feel like one. And for the first time in years, I realized I could be the one to make someone feel safe. As she curled into the blanket, the rain outside softened, as if the world itself decided to lower its voice. I lay beside her, not touching, not pushing, just existing in the same space, and for a long while neither of us spoke. Silence stretched between us, heavy at first, then comforting. I turned my head and saw her eyes drifting closed, lashes trembling like she was fighting sleep, fighting the possibility of peace. Instinctively, I whispered the words I had always been afraid to say, "What if you said you wanted to stay forever?" The words hung in the air, fragile and foolish, but honest. She didn't answer, but the way her breathing steadied felt like an answer anyway. The days that followed unfolded quietly, as if time wanted to give us room to learn each other. She started cooking small meals in my kitchen, humming songs she said she barely remembered. I caught myself waiting for her footsteps in the hallway, listening for the soft rustle of her arrival. We weren't lovers, not yet. We weren't anything you could name. But we were 2 broken people learning how to stop breaking. She told me about the nights she cried herself to sleep, the fights at home that pushed her out into the storm, and the constant fear that she wasn't deserving of care. I told her about my years of shutting people out, believing solitude was easier than being hurt again. Together, we created something new, something gentle. But healing is never linear. One evening she returned late, eyes red, hands cold, carrying the scent of a world that didn't treat her gently. She sat on the floor beside the bed, hugging her knees like a child, whispering that she didn't belong anywhere, not in her home, not in my room, not even in her own life. I sat beside her, letting my shoulder touch hers, letting my silence be a promise. For the first time, she didn't pull away. She leaned into me, letting the weight of her sadness fall into the space between us, trusting me to hold it without crushing her. As days turned into weeks, my apartment changed. Her books mixed with mine, her laughter filled the corners, her presence softened everything I once considered temporary. I found myself waking up earlier just to hear her breathing softly beside me, resting like someone who finally found a safe place to land. She still had moments of doubt, moments where she asked if she was too much, too damaged, too lost. And every time, I reminded her, not with grand gestures but with quiet consistency, that healing wasn't about being perfect. It was about being brave enough to stay. One night, long after the world outside had settled into darkness, she lay on my chest tracing invisible shapes with her fingers. There was no storm, no fear, only the soft hum of our breaths. In that moment, she whispered that she wasn't asking for space in my bed anymore, she was asking for a place in my life. I felt my throat tighten, not from fear but from the overwhelming realization that I had been waiting for those words without admitting it. I held her a little closer and told her that she had been home long before she realized it. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and share it. Your support helps these emotional stories reach more people who might need them. Before I end this story, I have a special request. Please comment below what part of this story hit you the hardest. She once asked if there was space in my bed. Today, the truth is simple. She didn't just fill the space, she filled the emptiness I had carried for years. And sometimes, all it takes is one brave question, whispered on a stormy night, to remind you that forever isn't something you find. It's something you choose.